If you scroll through parenting content today, you've probably seen the headlines. 5 mistakes that will ruin your child. 10 things you're doing wrong right now. It's exhausting. As a parent, you are already carrying the heavy weight of keeping a tiny human alive, safe, and happy. The absolute last thing you need is someone telling you that a normal, everyday misstep is going to destroy your child's future. Let's clear the air right now. You are not going to destroy your child's future because you lost your temper once, or because you let them watch an extra hour of television on a rainy Tuesday. The internet thrives on parent guilt, but actual child development science tells a completely different story. The real costly mistake isn't a checklist of 5 dramatic failures. The real mistake is getting so distracted by the fear of doing the wrong thing that you miss out on the one thing that actually matters. We spend so much time, energy, and money trying to perfectly mold our kids into successful adults that we completely overlook the simple biological foundation of how their brains actually learn, adapt, and grow. Here is the contrarian truth that changes everything. Your child's future isn't determined by how perfectly you parent. It's not determined by the exact discipline strategy you use or the extracurricular activities you sign them up for. Instead, researchers have discovered that a child's future resilience, intelligence, and emotional stability rely on a hidden, almost invisible dynamic that happens between the two of you every single day. Most parents are completely unaware of this dynamic, not because they aren't loving, devoted parents, but because no one ever pointed it out to them. But once you understand this single underlying concept, all of that anxiety about making mistakes begins to fade. You realize that building your child's future doesn't require perfection. It requires something much simpler and much more powerful. Here is exactly what they found. It has a name. Researchers at Columbia University and the New York State Psychiatric Institute call it the conversational turn. It works through a beautifully simple 2-step mechanism. Step 1, your child sends out a signal. Step 2, you send a signal back. That's it. Let's make this completely visual. Imagine your toddler is sitting on the kitchen floor while you are chopping vegetables for dinner. Suddenly, they hold up a plastic spoon and make a loud, excited sound. That sound, that pointed spoon, is a serve. Their little brain just sent a ping out into the world to see if anyone is listening. If you turn around, make eye contact, smile, and say something as simple as, "Wow, a spoon! Are you cooking too?" you have completed step 2. That is the return. I know it sounds almost too simple to matter, but think about what is actually happening in that split second. You are confirming to their developing brain that the world is a safe, responsive place. Every single time you complete that loop, you are actively wiring their neural pathways for connection, communication, and emotional trust. The reason this is the hidden antidote to all those parenting mistakes is because of what happens when we don't do it. When we are stressed, distracted by our phones, or just rushing through the day, we miss these serves. We don't ignore them on purpose, we just don't register them as important. But to a baby's brain, a missed serve isn't just a missed moment, it's a dropped connection. You might be thinking, okay, responding to my kid is nice, but does it really change their future? Does a few seconds of eye contact over a plastic spoon really matter more than reading books or teaching them their ABCs? The research on this is remarkable, and the data will completely change how you view your everyday interactions. A landmark study from Teachers College, Columbia University, working with the New York State Psychiatric Institute, gives us the answer. Researchers fitted young children with small audio recorders and later scanned their brains using MRI to see what was actually happening inside their heads during everyday interactions. What they found fundamentally shifted our understanding of early childhood development. They discovered that the sheer quantity of words a child hears isn't what predicts brain growth most strongly. This is a huge deal because for years, parents were told to just talk at their babies constantly. Leave the radio on, narrate your day, just flood them with words. But the brain scans proved that isn't what builds the brain. What mattered was the number of back and forth conversational turns. It wasn't about how much adults talked near their children, it was about how much they talked with them. Children who experienced more of these conversational turns showed greater growth in the language processing regions of their brains, and the effect was noticeably stronger than the effect of raw word count alone. And here is the most genuinely hopeful part of this research. Even though the study specifically examined children from different socioeconomic backgrounds, conversational turns predicted brain growth regardless of a family's income. You do not need a degree in child psychology to facilitate this. You do not need expensive toys, flashcards, or a perfectly quiet home. This massive neurobiological advantage is available to any parent in any home starting today, completely free. It proves that your presence is the most powerful developmental tool in existence. But to truly understand why missing these moments can feel so heavy to a child, you have to witness it. You have to see what happens when the back and forth loop is temporarily broken. There is one classic psychological experiment that shows in under 2 minutes exactly how much this dynamic means to your baby's sense of safety. In the 1970s, developmental psychologist Dr. Edward Tronick ran what became one of the most cited experiments in child psychology. It's called the still face experiment. A mother sits facing her baby, playing and responding to every little coo and smile. The baby is delighted, engaged, full of life. Then, on the researcher's cue, her face goes completely blank. She doesn't look away, she simply stops answering her baby. Within seconds, the baby notices. They try everything in their tiny power to get the connection back. Their smile grows bigger, almost desperate. Their little hands reach out. A tiny finger points at anything they can find. When nothing works, the baby physically collapses into tears, utterly unsettled. Not because her mother left the room, but because her warmth, her answering presence, has vanished. Then the researcher gives the cue. Her mother smiles again. She leans in, returns the serve, and says, "I'm here, I'm right here." Almost instantly, the baby's nervous system resets. They smile, they coo, the light returns to their eyes. The distress wasn't because the mother was terrible, it was simply because the loop was broken. This is why you don't need to fear those clickbait articles about destroying your child's future. You aren't going to ruin them with a bad day, but you do hold an incredible power. Every time you catch their serve, you are literally building their brain. If this video shifted your perspective today, hit the subscribe button for more science-backed, guilt-free parenting. You're doing a great job. I'll see you in the next video.